The chair, we welcome to the program Lance Tolbert, host of the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Company High School Football Scoreboard Show and producer of the Gallo Show, maybe the longest title in the entire company. So give us a preview. We got some high school football games coming up, right?
We do. They're quite a full lineup. I'm going to run through the top 10 matchups. I have a few other ball games I'll cover, and we'll just start there. But number one team in the state, let's start there, 7A Tupelo. They're 1-0.
I can't get used to the 7A, by the way.
Yeah, it's taken me a little bit of adjustment, too, because you go back and look at the schedules from last year and the year before, and you've got 6A. So you've got to kind of do the little easy math. But some teams stayed back, some moved up. And so it's going to take a few weeks for most of us following this to sort through it. But I'm getting a little better at it. I'm learning to stick to my notes when it comes to the 7As and 6As.
Okay.
But Tupelo, 7A Tupelo's 1-0. They have Saltillo, who is a 6A team, and they're 0-1. Tupelo beat Whitehaven 37-0, Tennessee team. And Saltillo lost on the road to New Albany 31-23. They were beaten squarely, though. Saltillo was last year by Tupelo about the same time of year, 55-0. So this ought to be an interesting game tonight. Saltillo may have a little bit of something in their craw from getting beat that bad last year. But Tupelo's led by some really good players. Quarterback Jeremiah Harrell, he's a senior. Senior running back Quay Middlebrooks and junior wide receiver Ty Darden lead a very talented and high-powered offense. Tupelo had a great year last year, and it looks like they're going to, again, have the talent to compete at the highest level in 7A. Number two team in the state, 7A Starkville, is 1-0. They go to 5A West Point, or actually they host 5A West Point. West Point is 0-1. Starkville beat 3A Noxubee County 49-18 last week. And Noxubee County lost in the finals of 2022 in the 3A championship to Raleigh 55-52. So Noxubee is not a team that, loses many games 49-18. They're a very good team. Starkville was the 6A state champion, defeating Brandon 48-32 last year. And Starkville started 2022 4-0, lost 3 in a row on the road at Madison Central, then to Clinton, and then Tupelo at home. But they would get a second chance. Starkville would against Clinton in round 2, then round 3 at Tupelo, which they beat both of those teams to advance to the 6A championship versus Brandon. So there's a little history there. West Point lost on the road to 4A Louisville last week. 4A Louisville is the defending 4A state champ, losing only one game in 22 to eventual 6A champ Starkville. And they lost that 21-0. West Point lost their first two games of the 22 season, 24-14 to Louisville and 44-13 to Starkville. But they reeled off 11 straight before falling to Picayune. Starkville returns quarterback Trey Petty, who's an Illinois commitment, and then Braylon Burnside, who highlights the receiver corps. So, again, Starkville's loaded again and very talented. Picayune has Cathedral. Picayune is a 6A team. Cathedral's out of Baton Rouge. Cathedral lost their first game to Our Lady of the Good Counsel, which is out of Maryland. They lost that. That was in 2022.
Maryland.
Yeah.
What's the deal with these teams playing other teams from out of state, like crossing over from Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, so forth?
Well, that's a great question because generally speaking, it's going to be the elite of the elite in Mississippi. MRA's done that with Pulaski quite a bit.
Yeah. But that's private school, though.
Well, it is, but you're also seeing some crossover because, say, Tennessee and Louisiana, the private school ranks really mix and merge up better than you see. And over in Alabama, you don't see the private schools as much. You see these huge schools like Hoover. So it's just it's a good experience, I bet, for we didn't have that opportunity. We didn't have the budgets to do those things. But, it's just one of those things where you get an opportunity to play high-quality teams. It doesn't count against your district schedule. And generally speaking, these games have been very hotly contested, and they kind of carry over from one year to the next where the team that got beat wants to play again and again. So it just kind of rolls on. But it is a good concept, and it does expose Mississippi football to some of the powers in the surrounding states like Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, and Louisiana, which I'm a big fan of. We have one team, and I'm sorry I don't have it off the top of my head, but I trying to remember is one of the coastal teams goes to Florida this weekend. So, they're traveling. They got some budgets now, Gerard.
Man, where are they getting all that money from? Especially with the cost of travel up as well.
That's right. Now Picayune is a 6A team. They're going to be my favorite and probably the sleeper team in the state of Mississippi. To me, pound for pound, I would say, arguably the best team in the state over the last few years, at least since 2020. Picayune has been extremely just stable, strong. They have a running attack that is hard to handle. West Point runs a similar offense. Both have great defenses, but those are your two teams there, I think, that are outside of the 7A between West Point, Picayune, and then you have Louisville, which is a great team. And so those are three of the teams there outside of your big boys that look really strong. Number 4, Oak Grove has 7A Hoover, Alabama.
There you go.
There you go right there. That's the one I was kind of referring to. Oak Grove is, I mean, if they're not the most talented team, they're close. But
Oak Grove, of course, around Hattiesburg, and Hoover would be on the east side of Birmingham, I believe. Yeah,
and, you know, the thing about Hoover is they have a little trend of getting beat by Thompson in the playoffs. That's their kind of That's a
big program, though.
It is, and Thompson is a power in 7A over there as well. And Oak Grove probably has the most talented team in the state, boasting multiple top 25 players from both senior and junior classes, and they are very talented coming up as well. If you have an opportunity to catch Oak Grove play, they're my sleeper team in the 7A classification. They're not favored to win it all, but they're right there. I mean,
check your schedule again, Lance, on Tupelo. We're showing that they play South Haven, not Saltillo tonight.
Let's see.
Just want to get that right for definitely. The audience.
Yeah, some of these
Tupelo 1-0.
Yeah, they're 1-0, and
South
then you got South Haven. That's right.
0-2 tonight, okay. Right? Not Saltillo.
I will look that up in just a second.
And both of those are 7A programs, right?
South
Tupelo,
Haven, yeah.
And Tupelo is as well.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Sure.
That's right.
Saltillo, though, what's that? What are they? 4A?
They're 6A.
6A.
Yeah, there's a large.
They've
grown immensely over the years, and you know it's an outskirt type of town in Tupelo, and just one of those communities. A lot of furniture manufacturing,
right?
Blue collar, and man,
on
they
that 45 corridor.
I believe it's 45, right off of that area.
The road there, it's beautiful through there.
You got Oak Grove again. We'll go back. They've had some really good seasons.
Yeah,
they're strong. They went 11-3 in 2021, losing to Brandon. So they're always right there.
Yeah,
and they're going to be one of those teams that I would keep my eye on. Brandon, they got beat this past weekend. It was a heck of a game against Picayune.
Saw that.
Madison Central. They won in a very just crazy game.
Like right at the end there, right?
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't much going on through that whole game, Gerard. And then it just got fun there for about 7 or 8 minutes. And Madison Central had 3 opportunities to kick the field goal to win the game. There was some interesting maneuvering there with Ocean Springs had taken they just couldn't kick.
Yeah.
They was just having the worst time with the kicking game. So they took a safety, which put the game at 14-12, and Brandon was down by the 2. And the young quarterback, Picarella, at Madison Central, I apologize, at Madison Central, young quarterback, Picarella led them down the field, got them down there in the field goal range, and they proceed to miss the second one. It doinks off the upright. The first one, there was a offside penalty, and the third one, he just cranks it straight through there like he was walking in the park, and you win the game. And it was just one of those, probably one of the best finishes you'll see in a regular season game. Warren Central at Pearl. Warren Central 6A, Pearl 7A. Warren Central stayed in the 6A rank, but they were in that 7A group last year, or which would be 6A. They stayed in the 6A. Pearl moved up. Pearl's much improved. They got a great quarterback who I believe is a sophomore this year, and Jack Durr started a lot for him last year, and he's a handful. He's not the biggest as far as size. He's tall, but he's getting better and better. Number 8, Louisville. They're 4A. They got Neshoba Central, and Neshoba Central 6A. Neshoba Central got beat pretty handily by Pearl in week 1, 35-14. So I would anticipate Louisville taking this one to the house. They're really, really difficult to handle. Jackson Prep, the 6A top 10 team, and the Big Ten. You got they're 2-0. They've got Pillow Academy. Jackson Prep, as you know, Prep and MRA have seemingly battled for the state championship routinely.
Where's JA in that mix these days?
Well, Hartfield has been in that.
Yeah.
But, JA is kind of like that, right there knocking on the door, just hadn't been able to get MRA dethroned or prep. Those two have just owned that rank. And then the last one I'll say is the Raleigh Lions. They're a 2A power. They got 4A Newton County, and Raleigh is a team to watch. They're so fun, and Ole Miss's linebacker Perkins came from Raleigh, and so they're going to be loaded again.
Ought to be a good night for football. And then we got Scoreboard Show.
Yes, sir.
Coming on.
10 to 11:30. And it'll be action-packed, and hopefully we'll have a lot of games finished before we get off the air this week.
It's going to be a lot of action tonight.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
it, Lance.
My
Thanks for
pleasure.
coming in. Yep, we're stepping aside for a break in the Element Well studio. Later on in the program, Kelly Bennett, multimedia journalist with SuperTalk Mississippi News, updates us on the news, the headlines they're tracking. And then Lynn Posey, Executive Director of the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks at 12:05.